So we knew my husband was adopted, but all we knew was that the mother was a college student studying psychology in Texas, and the father was a Mongolian who happened to come to Texas to teach self-defense classes. So fast forward, with the full support of our family and excitement, we decided to begin the reunification process. So as we did, we were waiting and waiting for the bio mom to respond, and nothing. So I finally decided to call the adoption agency. I said, "Are you sure you have the right person? I mean, the right address, phone number?" "Yes, I'm sure. She's just not responding. I'm sorry." "Oh, well, did she at least give you the name of the bio dad?" "No, it's not here, but I'll go ahead and ask Linda and get back to you." I said, "Okay." So I hung up the phone. I thought, wait a second. She said Linda. A long time ago, my mother-in-law told me the only thing I remember about the bio mom is that we happen to have the same last name, Horn, by coincidence, and her first name started with L, just like me. Isn't that amazing? So I thought, did she just slip the name of the bio mom? So quickly I went to Google and I looked, and sure enough, I find one person that has the right name, right initial, and so I was so excited because I also discovered, to my surprise, that her father and his grandfather and his great-grandfather had the same name as my husband by coincidence. So I called the adoption agency and I said, "I think I found her." And the lady said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yes, and could you confirm?" She goes, "No, I will not. That is confidential information." And I said, "Well, can I at least tell you what I found?" And she goes, "Sure." And so I began to tell her all the details, and she responded, "My, aren't you a good detective?" So then I'm thinking, how could I be a good detective if I have the wrong information? Thank you for that indirect confirmation. So then I go and I start Googling, and I said, I'm gonna just start calling. I'm gonna call people that have her name. Maybe I can find someone that can connect us. So I make my first call. This lady answers, "Hello?" I said, "Hi, my name is Shawn Horn, and I'm working on my family tree ancestry. I'm wondering if you might know Linda Horn." She says, "Oh, yes, honey. She's married to my son." I'm like, oh no, this is not good. I reached her mother-in-law, and then I thought, oh, she might not know about the baby, and so I got to be really careful. She goes, "Now, who are you again?" My kids always tell me, "Mama, don't be going off and rattling off to people about your business because you don't know who they are, but you sound like such a nice lady." I was dear friends with her mama. "Did you know that her daddy had a son from his first marriage, but he had a blood condition. He went blind. I think he's gone by now." And she just went on and on and on. I was like, oh my gosh. And so before our phone call ended, I said, "Oh, I have one more question." She says, "Yes." And I go, did she have any children?" And she said, "No, honey, she had no children, but she just loves children. I know she'll be happy to talk to you, so I'll give her your information. She'll call you." So I'm like, okay. So I was so hopeful. Finally, I know I'm going to make contact with her. She loves kids, psychology. She studied things. I thought for sure she's going to be interested. And then nothing. So I had her phone number, and I thought, do I do it? I finally mustered up the courage, and I called her. She answered the phone. "Hello, this is Linda." I thought, oh God, listen to her voice. It's so warm. It's so kind. I said, "Hi, my name is Shawn Horn, and I'm married to Joel Horn, and he was born in 1960. I'm not interested." Well, maybe she doesn't understand. Like, he was adopted. "I am not interested." Well, could you at least give us the name of the bio dad?" "No, I will not. You see, life comes and goes without you getting what you think you need." Click. Wow, I didn't expect that. I instantly felt a storm of emotion, shame for contacting her, embarrassed, grief, sadness, regret, all of these feelings. I thought, how am I going to tell my husband? So I went home, and I also didn't get a chance to thank her for giving my husband life and giving us him. I went home and I said to my husband what happened, and we cried together and we grieved together. It took us a while to get through it. And then about 5 years later, I'm watching finally Your Family Roots, and it like sparked up this desire in me again. And I thought, the internet's always changing. Maybe I can find something about the Joel Horn, and I won't have to bother her, but I could get this information. So I look, and all of a sudden, I find this obituary of her brother. He was alive the whole time. The lady said, he's gone by now, so I thought he had died. So I find his sons, and I reach out to one of his wives, and I tell her who I am. And I thought, I braced myself, this could be bad. And she said, praise Jesus, this is the best news ever. I'm just so happy that he found his cousin and we found our cousin, and wait till I tell the family. And she was just so overjoyed and wrapped us in love. And for a year we correspond. And then one day she sends me a text. I got the name of the daddy, Chatty Yoko Ochi. Now go do your magic. So I immediately Google, and I am blown away. All of a sudden, the internet just starts giving me all these pictures and articles. Chatty was one of the original WWE wrestlers who came to the United States to wrestle with legends like Gorgeous George. He tag teamed with Professor Ito, and he was known as the Villainous Oriental. I mean, but that was the late 60s, so you know how that goes. So he wrestled, and he was touring all over the United States, and then all of a sudden, there was nothing. Where did he go? And then I found an article that said he died in a car accident in Paris in 1982. So I thought, dead end, but I just had this incredible drive in me that there was more, and I had to pursue it. And I told my husband, I think there's something about this search that is greater than us. And so I looked up the name, and sure enough, I find another celebrity from France. And it's like, is this his son? And then I find another son in Tokyo. So I message this guy, and I get a text from the guy in Tokyo. He says, yes, we are the sons of Chatty Yokochi. How may we help you? So I tell him in email, I wait his response, and he responds, and he says, wow, tell your husband, our brother, that we are glad that he found us. He said he was standing in the middle of the street of Tokyo crying, and he'll have to sit on it and get back to us. We correspond for weeks, and then finally they said, we have to meet our brother. And 3 weeks later, they're here in Spokane, and he's coming out of the airport, walking down the ramp, and our eyes locked. And it was as if time had stopped and nobody was around. And he slowly walked up to my husband, and he touched his eyes, and he said, your eyes are like my eyes. Your nose is like my nose. You are just like Dad. And he later told me that when his father died, he prayed to God, just let me have one more time with my father. And he said, having Joel come into his life is just like having that one more moment with his dad. Soon his other brother came up, and we had 3 weeks of the most euphoric time together, and it was wonderful. And people were messaging me saying, oh, how did you do it? And this brings me so much hope. And so a year later, I go to my office, and there's a letter, and I open it, and it says, hello, my name is Melissa, and I'm looking for my biological father. So I thought, oh, it's another person I can help. And she said, I did 23andMe, and what? I'm your sister. I didn't see that coming. So I ran home and I said, Joel, look, I have a sister. And that, my friends, is a story for another day.